Welcome to the Tough Decisions Network for Entrepreneurs. I'm Dan Handford, and my wife, Danae, and I interview successful people sharing stories behind tough decisions that they've had to make along their journey as an entrepreneur. Before we get started, let's hear from one of our sponsors. Have you ever thought about investing in real estate, but find yourself so busy that you don't have time for it? Do you have FOMO, which is the fear of missing out? At HandfordCapital.com, we help investors with passive real estate investments that project better returns than traditional investment vehicles such as the stock market. If you'd like to find out more about our passive real estate investments, visit HandfordCapital.com. That's HANDFORD Capital.com. We will jump on a call with you to discuss your investment goals and to see if our investments are a good fit for you. This advertisement is not to be construed as an offer or recommendation to buy or sell a security. Visit HandfordCapital.com. Thank you very much for joining us on this Friday episode of the Tough Decisions podcast for entrepreneurs. Today's episode, we are going to be talking about how to balance family and fitness along with your business. And if anybody has the ability to talk about this, I would say that I definitely have. I'm not saying that I'm perfect in this area, but I want to go over a couple of tidbits that I've learned and have implemented over the years, and I feel is very effective, and I feel it will be very good information for you as a business owner or entrepreneur or wantrepreneur, one who is seeking to become an entrepreneur. And so first I want to cover some of our things that we do in our family when it has to do with balancing business with our children. And so one thing that I always do every day, because I don't get to spend a lot of time with my children during the day because they're at school, I make sure that I take my kids to school every morning. And so my wife picks them up in the afternoon and does her thing in the afternoon with them until I get home from the office. But in the mornings, I really enjoy taking my kids to school in the morning. It's a good 30 minutes for me to be able to spend some time with them, some quality time with them, and they really enjoy it too. And so I have 4 children, my wife and I do. We have 4 under the age of 9. So we have an 8-year-old, Caroline. We have a 6-year-old, Caleb. And we also have a 2-year-old, Chloe, and a 10-month-old, Callie. We have 4 children, all under the ages of 9. And so we're definitely a very busy family, but we have to make sure that we're balancing our family with our businesses. And so one of the things, like I said, I do is I take my kids to school in the morning. And when we're on the way to school, I don't have them playing iPads in the back or playing on their computers or, watching a movie on the way to school. I spend time with them. I make sure to try to play different games with them. Right now, I just have our 2 older ones that I'm taking to school right now, Caroline and Caleb. And so on the way to school in the mornings, we will play a game that I call the IQ game. And so I'll have them pick a category, like history or geography or mathematics or science. And I'll have them pick a category. And then I'll say, do you want easy, medium, or hard? And then I will come up with a question to ask them based on that particular category. Their favorite category is spelling right now. And so it's also my favorite category because it's an easy one for me to come up with questions. We have really enjoyed that game. They'll compete with each other. So they'll get points and things like that for different correct answers. And, it's also a way for me to be able to teach them on our way to school about things that they might not be learning in school, or they might be able to get ahead of their classmates. And so we play that IQ game. And recently we are taking a trip right now to the Mall of America next week. And so just the 2 older kids, and we're going to go to the Mall of America. And they've been to the Mall of America in Minneapolis. And for those of you who don't know about the Mall of America, it is the country's largest shopping mall. It has 7 acres inside with 27 roller coasters inside. And it's really nice because instead of going to somewhere like Disney or Knott's Berry Farm or, Carowinds or anything like that, or Six Flags, inside this theme park is inside of the mall. It's a 4-story mall. They got 2 hotels attached to it. They have a bowling alley and a movie theater and all kinds of, restaurants. And, inside the middle of it is 7 acres with 27 roller coasters, and it's all indoor. It's all indoor and air conditioned. That's the part that I like. So instead of having to be, hot and sticky and all that kind of stuff out in the open, riding these rides outside, it's always 72 degrees all year long. And it's just always predictable. And it's just so much fun. And so we try to go about once a year. We've been doing that for the last 5 years now. And the kids have really enjoyed it. And this week on the way to school, what I did was asking them some quizzes about the Mall of America. Like, what's the name of the ride that goes through the log chute ride? And so they talk about another roller coaster that actually goes through another roller coaster. And then we also talk about trying to name some of the kid rides, because they've been on all the kid rides since we've been there since they were younger. And so they were able to name a lot of those things. So we just have a really good time and interaction back and forth, on that ride to school. And then this morning, my daughter decided that she wanted to play the Guess That Song game. And so we've done that before, but this time of year, it's around the Christmas season. And so we did the Guess That Song for the Christmas songs. And so that's one of the things that we did there. And so we have various different quizzes and kind of fun things that we like to do along the way. And one of the other things that I put into place along with these, balancing that family with business, is I try to have the kids travel with me whenever I'm going to various events, if at all possible. And so not this weekend, but the next weekend, I'm going to be traveling to Denver, Colorado for an event that I'm speaking at. And I'm going to bring my 6-year-old son with me. And so we're both going to fly over to Denver in the morning on Saturday, spend all day Saturday there, and then most of the day on Sunday, and then fly back Sunday evening. So, of course, he can be back for school on Monday. And then also, when I was setting up our medical practices that we have here in South Carolina, we have 5 of them across the state. One of the things that we did is each one of the offices, we would buy lots of furniture for them when we were opening those offices. And so I was there in those offices a lot. And instead of spending so much time away from the children, I brought them with me, and they would help me set up the offices. They would help me build the furniture, and Caleb got to learn how to use a screwdriver and a hammer. He knows the difference between flathead and Phillips head and the wrenches and the box openers and all kinds of stuff. And he just had a really good time spending that time with me, but also allowing me to be able to be at those practices to be able to get them started. And then one of the other things that we try to do every week is we try to have dinner with the entire family every night. And I think that's very important for a lot of different areas, but especially with the interaction with family every single night with the kids as well as with the adults. The only exception to that is Wednesday nights, because we have Wednesday night church. We still get together as a family our restaurant on Wednesday nights is usually Chick-fil-A, because there's one right down the street from our church. So we'll meet there with, my wife's parents, the kids' grandparents, and then some of our other extended family. And then we also try to get together after church on Sunday, so with our extended family, for lunch. And so I think, when you're trying to balance, family and business, that is one of the things that you really have to do is really try to figure out what are some things that you can do right now in your business where you can start to involve your family with it. And again, it's not just about your children, it's also about your spouse. And that's one of the reasons why I involve my spouse in so many things that we do, is that I want her to be able to feel like she's a part of what we are doing and what we are growing and how we are growing our businesses. And she's also a very good educator. And so if you haven't listened to her podcast episode, she does our Sunday episodes. And so I would encourage you to go to our website, thetoughDecisions.net, and see some of those Sunday episodes that she has done. She's done a phenomenal job. And so if you're here on iTunes or on some other podcasting platform, obviously you can search for her name, Dan Handford, and it'll pop up some of the episodes that she has done on the podcast. And I would really encourage you to listen to those Sunday episodes because they're very good. So I want to shift a little bit here and talk about fitness goals. Now, again, I am not going to say I'm the most fit person in the world. Actually, I can guarantee you that. But I want to talk to you about some things that I've struggled with over the years, and how lately I've been trying to mitigate some of those struggles. And again, when you start to talk about balancing family and business, there's also the balance of fitness and business. But then when you start to incorporate trying to balance fitness, you also have to now start to balance fitness, family, and business. And that's really where a lot of these things get complicated, because when I was single, it wasn't as hard to try to incorporate some of these things. But now I feel like I'm pulled in different directions and I really want to do all these different things at the same time, and I can't. And so it's really all about trying to balance things and find what works best for you. So I'm going to tell you what I've done, and I'm not saying that this is the perfect situation for everybody, but I'll kind of talk to you through what my thought process was on it. And that way you can kind of see how I made the decision that I did. When I was trying to figure out how do I fit in a time during the day where I could go and work out and take care of my body at the same time as making sure I balance family and business. Well, the first thing I thought about, and I've tried to do, is getting up really early, right? Get up really early, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, And I really found out that that was just not good for me, because I would do it for, a couple of days or maybe a week or two. And then something would come up and I had to stay up late and I would miss it. And then once you miss it once, that's when it starts to go downhill. And so plus, a lot of times when I get up early or whatever, it's not good, because then I might not be able to take the kids to school in the morning because I'm so tired or whatever. And so I tried that. It didn't work. I also, tried maybe doing it late at night after the kids went to bed and after dinner and all that kind of stuff. But then what I found out is then I didn't have enough time to be able to spend with my wife. I wanted to make sure I had that time available as well, because again, when you start to balance family, it's not just about balancing your children into your life and your business, but it's also balancing your spouse as well. And then of course I thought, well, if I don't have to do it late, maybe I could do it right after work on the way home. Well, as you guys probably know, things happen at work and they get delayed and things happen there. And even if I could do it right after work, I would possibly miss dinner with the family or time with the kiddos or whatever, or, afterwards. And so now what I've been trying to do is, instead of trying to, work out first thing in the morning or late at night or, right after work, I try to do it right after I drop the kids off at school in the morning. So I drop the kids off at school about 7:30, 7:45 in the morning, and then go right over to the gym and try to do that about 3 times a week. I'm not perfect at it. I haven't done it 100%. I'm not consistent with it, but that's been the best time for me to be able to incorporate it into my schedule, is being able to do that and set that time aside before my day even gets started, and then right after I drop the kids off. Because it's not taking time away from my family at all. It's not taking time away from the kids in the evening. It's not taking time away from spending time with my wife. And I just make sure that I don't have any calls or meetings before 9 a.m. That way I don't accidentally fill that time up and not have the time set aside to be able to do those particular workouts. So obviously everybody's situation is going to be a little bit different. And so I want you to just think about what you do right now and how can you maybe modify that to allow yourself to be able to spend more time with your family, whether it be your spouse or your children, or even just your extended family if you're single, to be able to have that extra time to be able to balance family, fitness, and business. Well, I hope this Friday episode was very valuable to you. I kind of opened up a little bit about what we're doing right now with our family and myself personally with my fitness goals. And again, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not 100% consistent with this stuff, but it's just ways that you need to start thinking about trying to be a little more cognizant of the fact that you do have a family and you do have health and you don't want to lose them. Thank you for listening to the Tough Decisions Network. Be sure to visit toughdecisions.net to gain access to show notes for this episode and to join our free weekly entrepreneur email, where we will send you news about the latest technology for your business, inspiring quotes, and the latest books for entrepreneurs. That's toughdecisions.net.